we will see the Docker architecture. We will go to the official website of Docker. Here we can go to the developers and go to the documentation tab. Here we can go to the get started. Here we can click on what is this Docker. We can find this option Docker architecture. Generally, Docker is consisting of various components like Docker client, Docker host, and Docker registry. If we consider Docker client and Docker host, they both can be called as a local environment, and Docker registry is a remote repository. Like if we consider this with the Git, like these two components will become as a Git local, and this will become as a Git remote repository. Let us see what is a Docker client. Docker client is nothing but a Docker CLI. We can issue commands to the Docker daemon. Similarly, like Git, how we use the Git pull and Git fetch, we can use like that. And coming to the Docker host, this is nothing but the Docker server, we can call it as. It is consisting of a Docker daemon. We can create and manage the Docker images with the help of the Docker daemon. The Docker daemon accepts commands from the Docker client. It is having another component called as Docker images. Docker images nothing but it is the package of a software application. uh, it's nothing but image is the representation of a packaged application. It has all the required dependencies and configuration packages into a image. And another component is the containers. We can't generate containers without the Docker images. When we give an instruction to the Docker server to generate a container from the Docker image, it will create a running instance of Docker image, which is a web application or microservice in a running state. This Docker client and Docker host are nothing but they are available in the local. Here, coming to the Docker registry, it is a remote repository. Docker images are maintained and pulled from the Docker Hub or any other private container registries. Docker company provided a Docker Hub as a registry where we can maintain our private and public repositories inside the Docker Hub. Generally, what will be the general flow is when we give instruction to the Docker client, from the Docker client to the Docker server to run a container, Docker server will validate if the image present in the local system. If it is not there, then it will go and fetch from the remote repository like Docker Hub. Once the Docker image is pulled into the local system using the Docker image, a container will be generated with the help of the Docker image. The Docker server will create the Docker container. Once the container is available, the application is ready and we can use the application. Please let me know if anything in the comments.